Expiration dates are, for the most part, a lie. You knew that, right? Or at the very least, they're a very conservative suggestion written by someone who wanted you to buy more of whatever you just bought. In fact, most of them don't even call them expiration dates anymore. They're best buy dates. There are foods that have been pulled out of thousand-year-old shipwrecks and found to still be edible. Whatever is in your pantry is probably going to be fine, as long as it doesn't smell funny. In this video, I'm going to tell you which foods are genuinely shelf stable for years or decades and why. And before we're done, I'll show you one item that almost everyone has at home, but most people never think of as a survival food, but probably should. Stick around. Let's start with the one I generally love telling people about because it's the one that usually stops people cold. Archaeologists have found honey in Egyptian tombs, 3,000 years old. They tasted it and it was still good. This is not a rumor, it's a thing that actually happened. Honey doesn't expire because it's hygroscopic. It pulls moisture out of everything around it, including bacteria. It's also naturally acidic, which is the second layer of protection. If your honey is crystallized, that's not spoilage. Put the jar in warm water or put it in the microwave, it'll come right back. The only caveat, raw honey with water introduced can ferment. That's how meat is made, in fact. The sealed honey, no water, doesn't go bad, ever. Now, honey is the showstopper, but the next one on this list might actually be more important to stock and quantity. Salt. Salt doesn't need to be preserved because salt is preservation. There are salt mines in Europe that have been continuously operated for over 3,000 years. Roman soldiers were sometimes paid in salt. That's where the word salary comes from. Iodized salt will lose its iodine over time, but the salt itself is still salt forever. If you're storing long term, non iodized salt is probably the more stable choice. So stock a lot of it. Salt is how you preserve everything else on this list. Salt and the next two items are a little different from the rest. They're not just shelf stable foods, they're preservation tools. Let me show you what I mean. Number three, sugar. Pure white sugar is fine indefinitely as long as it stays dry and sealed. It clumps, but it doesn't spoil. Those are very different things. Sugar was so valuable in medieval Europe that wealthy households kept it in a locked box called a sugar chest. People literally locked up their sugar. We have problems today, but a sugar shortage is not one of them. Number four, vinegar. Distilled white vinegar keeps indefinitely. So does apple cider vinegar. In fact, any pure vinegar will stay good indefinitely because it's already acid. Nothing wants to grow in it. Salt, sugar, vinegar. These three things are the foundation of food preservation. They're not just foods, they're tools. Keep that in mind as we go through the rest of this list. Now, let's talk about the backbone of most emergency food storage. Why you need to be a little more specific about which version you buy. Hey, if you're finding this useful, hit the like button. It helps YouTube understand this video is worth showing to other people. And if you're new here, I make videos about practical skills, food preservation, and not wasting what you've got. Subscribe if that sounds like your kind of thing. Number five, white rice. White rice, properly sealed, lasts 25 to 30 years. White rice was used as currency in feudal Japan. Samurai were paid in rice. The reason it kept so long is the same reason brown rice doesn't. White rice has had the bran removed. The bran contains oils. Oils go rancid. No bran, no rancidity. Now, brown rice is delicious and nutritionally superior to white rice, and it will absolutely go rancid on you in a couple of years. So save it for your regular food rotation, not your emergency pantry. Now, rice is calories and carbohydrates. The next two items on the list give you protein, and there's a distinction between them worth knowing. Number six, dried beans. Dried beans are technically safe indefinitely, but quality degrades after about 10 years. They get harder to rehydrate, take longer to cook, and eventually never quite soften. So, safe to eat? Yes. Enjoyable to eat? Less so after a decade. So, store them, rotate them, use them within 10 years, and you'll have no complaints. Number seven, lentils. Same story as beans, with slightly better texture retention over time. Lentils are also faster to cook and don't require soaking. That makes them a better practical choice for many emergency pantries if you had to pick just one. Also, keep in mind that beans or lentils plus rice form a complete protein. Okay, this next one might raise some eyebrows, but stay with me. There's more going on here than just the obvious. Number 8, hard liquor. Distilled spirits last indefinitely because alcohol is its own preservative. A bottle of scotch from 1863 was auctioned in 2019 and is still considered drinkable. And this isn't just about having something to take the edge off when civilization gets weird. Alcohol has real survival utility. It's antiseptic, it's used as a tincture base, as a trade item, as a fire starter, probably more things that I'm not thinking of off the top of my head, too. Store what you'd actually drink, but store some. Speaking of alcohol as a preservation medium, the next item on this list works on exactly the same principle. And it's already in most people's spice cabinets. Number 9, pure vanilla extract. Pure vanilla extract, not imitation, pure, is essentially flavored alcohol. It has an indefinite shelf life, for the same reason as hard liquor. This is why herbal tinctures work. Alcohol as a preservation medium is one of the oldest tricks in the book. Check the label. If it says pure, you're good. Now, let's stay in your spice cabinet for a minute, because there's something most people get wrong about spices and shelf life. Quick pause. But if you know someone who's been meaning to think about stocking their food pantry but hasn't gotten around to it, this is a good one to share with them. Number 10, whole spices and dried herbs. Whole spices do not expire. They lose potency, but they don't spoil. Whole peppercorns, whole cumin, whole coriander, grind as needed, lasts indefinitely. Black pepper was once so valuable, it was used to pay rent, settle debts, and fund ransoms. Attila the Hun demanded 3,000 pounds of pepper as part of his ransom for Rome. 3,000 pounds of pepper. Now, ground spices go stale faster. So if you're storing long term, buy them whole and grind as you go. Dried herbs from your garden don't quite keep indefinitely, but 2 to 3 years easily. Longer if you store them away from light and moisture or you vacuum pack them. And if you're growing and drying your own herbs, the cost is essentially nothing. Now, let's talk about a few things that sweeten, season, and preserve, and that almost no one thinks to stockpile deliberately. Number 11, pure maple syrup. It's sealed, it keeps indefinitely. Opened and refrigerated, it lasts for years. Indigenous peoples of the northeastern US and Canada were making maple syrup long before European contact. It's one of the oldest food traditions on this continent. Now, this applies to pure maple syrup only, not pancake syrup, which is mostly corn syrup with flavoring, different products entirely, and that definitely will go bad. So stock the pure stuff. Number 12, soy sauce. Lasts indefinitely when sealed. Lasts for years once opened. The salt content is what's doing the work. Soy sauce has been produced in China for over 2,000 years. It's one of the most ancient condiments still in common use. For long-term storage, it pulls double duty. It's a preservation ingredient and flavor. Now, we've covered sweeteners and seasonings. Let's talk about fats, because this is where most people make a mistake with their food storage. Number 13 is ghee. Regular butter goes rancid because of the milk solids. Ghee is butter, but with the milk solids removed. It's shelf stable at room temperature for 1 to 2 years, but it will last significantly longer. It's sealed and stored in a cool place. Ghee has been used in India for at least 3,000 years. It's considered sacred, used in religious ceremonies, and was the fat of choice before refrigerators existed. There's a reason it's stuck around. Number 14, coconut oil. Most oils go rancid faster than people realize. Olive oil, vegetable oil, they're great for daily cooking, but they're not ideal for long term storage. Coconut oil is highly saturated, which makes it more resistant to rancidity than unsaturated oils. 2 plus years at room temperature, longer stored properly. I've heard of people who've opened coconut oil 8 years past the expiration date, and it was fine. There are some sources that suggest it will last indefinitely if kept sealed and stored properly. Coconut oil and ghee are your long-term fat storage options. Olive oil and vegetable oil stay in the regular food rotation. Now, last two. One is boring and perfect. The other is the one I've been saving. Number 15, cornstarch. Keeps indefinitely if it's kept dry. That's the whole story. It's flavorless. It's cheap. It thickens sauces and soups. It lasts forever in a sealed container. You can use it in frying, in baking, as a skin soother like baby powder, as a deodorizer, even as dry shampoo in a pinch. It's an easy addition, lots of uses, no reason not to have it. Number 16, baking soda. Okay, I said at the beginning, there was one item that almost everyone has at home that most people never think of as a survival food. This is it. Baking soda doesn't expire as a food safe product, ever. It loses potency for leavening over time. You can test that, by the way, by dropping a pinch of it in vinegar. If it fizzes hard, it's still active. But here's why it belongs on this list, even when it's lost its baking punch. You can use it as toothpaste, deodorizer, antacid, cleaning agent, odor neutralizer, grease fire suppressant. The US Army used it as toothpaste in World War I when supplies ran short. It's one item, at least 6 uses. So stock it. So that's 16 foods that practically never expire. Many of these are already in your pantry. You just might not have thought of them as survival foods. And now you know. A well stocked pantry isn't about being scared, it's just good math. It's about being prepared. Tell me in the comments, what do you already have at home that you know will last? I'm curious what people are actually storing as things go in, in the direction they're going. If you want to go deeper, check out my other food videos. Link to the playlist below. I'll see you in the next one.